Your vagina and your butt might be a little fucked up if you got Ehlers Danlos syndrome or a hypermobility spectrum disorder. These are the two papers. We're talking genital lacerations after intercourse, bleeding, irregular periods, heavy periods, polycystic ovarian syndrome, endometriosis, endometrial cysts, pelvic your bladder incontinence, stress urge, constant UTIs, bladder dysturia, hematuria, megacystitis, urinary retention. And if we go over here, this is the hypermobile Ehlers Danlos syndrome disorders of gastrointestinal tract, what the gastroenterologists need to know. Bloating, distension, I don't know half these words. Alternating bowel habits, diarrhea, constipation, abdominal pain, fullness after eating, feeling full even though you haven't really eaten anything, heartburn, IBS-like symptoms, nausea, bloating, diarrhea, fecal urgency. That's my fucking problem. Someone also laughed at me that when I flip pages, I don't lick my finger, I lip. Pelvic organ prolapse, hiatus hernia, Crohn's disease, celiac, liver disease, visceral hypersensitivity, I feel that, like fuck. Dolichocolon, which is when you have a super long colon. Short segment, whatever, you know, doctor words. Thermoregulatory difficulties, so that's the one that really shook me. Because I always thought that's because of a few too many drinky pews before labor that caused me to not have any heat regulation. Disordered eating, mental health complications. Yeah. The 5-point questionnaire for people with either hypermobile Ehlers Danlos or just hypermobile spectrum disorder. Could you now or could you ever place your hands flat on the floor without bending your knees? Could you now or could you ever bend your thumb and touch your forearm? As a child, did you amuse your friends by contorting your body into strange shapes, or could you do the splits? Yes. As a child, did your shoulder and kneecap dislocate more than once on one occasion? Yes. Do you consider yourself double jointed? No. I just thought, they just told me that was normal. I'm going to go through the diagnostic model too, but it said mucosa issues. So like vaginal dryness, reoccurring vaginal infections. Here it says chronic fatigue, mood disorders, anxiety, sleep disturbances, heart problems, palpitations, chest pain, postural instability, trouble regulating temperature, which blew my mind. Inflammatory and systemic manifestations postulated to relate to mast cell activation, which is exactly why I want a biopsy done during my colonoscopy, which I'm going to have to talk about the gastroenterologist. Yeah. Okay, so let's go through the neurodiversity. So the diagnostic model, first off, it's the Beighton score, which is this thing up here. If you can do all of these things, and it's like 2 points per thing or whatever. So if your pinky bends back to or past 90 degrees, if you can touch your thumb to your wrist, which I can't do and freaks me out. If when you stick your arms out like this, your elbows extend past a straight line, and then same with your knees, and then if you could go down and touch the floor. So that's like the hypermobile part of it. The other thing is unusually soft, velvety skin, which I find very offensive, and some girl commented on my video today actually saying, she's like, I knew you had HEDS just from looking at your skin, and I find that so rude, because people always compliment my skin. It's the one thing I have going for me in this world. So to tell me that that's a result of a condition and not just some random flex skill that I have is crazy. So the skin stuff keeps blowing my mind. Also, hyperextendability of the skin. So it says 3 centimeters of the neck, elbow, or knee, 1.5 centimeters of the top of the hand or the distal forearm. Also the little white balls in the heels that you can't see in this angle. Reoccurring or multiple abdominal hernias, atrophic scarring, which is when rather than the scar going above the skin, it like goes under and leaves like a hole kind of vibe. I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on any of this. I don't know anything about any of this. I'm just reading a piece of paper. pelvic floor, rectal, and or uterine prolapse, dental crowding, higher narrow plate, which is super interesting because dentists have always talked about how my teeth are so tight together it's really hard for me to floss. Another thing that's interesting about that too is it talks about the TMJ joint, and the TM joint, and mine is fucked. It's been out of place for a long time. Your arms are longer than your legs, arm span to height ratio. You can have heart problems because it's like the connective tissues in the heart. Widespread muscular pain, musculoskeletal pain. Reoccurrent joint dislocations, joint instability in the absence of trauma, unusually fragile skin. And there's like points and numbers and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. And honestly, when I go to the doctor's clinic, I'm going to give him these because I didn't explain any of this. All I told him about was the ripping coochie and the finger. I didn't explain any of these other symptoms because I was just like not trying to take up any of his time and like get through it as quick as possible. But yeah, it's actually mind-blowing. Especially when I read the temperature regulation, I was like, and sweating. Yeah, where is that? Where is that? Association, gut disorders that have gut-brain interaction. So IBS. Not being able to shit, not being able to empty the shit, feeling like you have to shit, but there's no shit. Pelvic organ prolapse, anxiety, fibromyalgia. Did we read about all the problems giving birth? Uterus explosion, hemorrhaging, cervical failure, not your stitches when you ripping, did I say that already? The stitches not working, kidney failure, kidney problems. Let's read about the Crohn's one. Joint hypermobility using the Beighton score has been observed more frequently in patients with Crohn's disease, with 29 of the 41 Crohn's patients having joint hypermobility compared to 10 of the 28 patients with ulcerative colitis. Interesting. 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 There is no signals for an increased risk of gastric or colorectal neoplasia or of complications related to diverticular disease in patients with HSD/EDS. Although formal studies are lacking. That's the other thing that this report says too a lot, is that their conclusion that there's not enough research on this. What did it say about kidneys again? Nearly half the research on urogenital and pelvic complications in these conditions have been produced within the last decade. So like there's no research on this. But I really should give these to my doctor because like you guys have been commenting, like he said it's rare and it's starting to seem like it's not that rare. Uterine torsion, cervical incompetence, preterm labor. Interesting. There needs to be more studies on this. The review found that both male and female patients can experience a wide range of urogenital and pelvic complications throughout their lifespan. I was looking into that because even you have all the parts to be any sex when you're developing. So males still have like the tiny little speck of what a uterus would be inside of their, don't quote me on this. I want to say prostate or something. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. I take that back. I don't know anything. Don't quote me on anything ever. I'm dumb. The only thing you can quote me saying is that don't quote me on that. But apparently they can get fucking endometriosis in that little millispeck. So y'all better start solving endometriosis because males can get it. That's my papers.